Next question, 2.3. Absolute value of 2x plus 3 is greater than 7. Now remember, with absolute values we're talking about how far a certain point is from 0. So before I solve this, I want to just illustrate how we get to our solution. Now remember, we said whenever you're taking absolute value like this, absolute value of anything, this want to say how far is it away from 0. So I can draw my number line like that, and then I put 0. Okay, and if I want to find out where all the points that are less than that are greater than 7 units away from 0, I can count 7 units this way. I'll end up at 7, and then 7 units this way. When I go to the left, it is now minus 7. Now I would ask you a question and say, if I wanted to place my pen is over here, I hope you can see it, and I say up to here, that means it's 7 units away from 0 on the right, and if it's here, it is also 7 units away from 0, but it is on the left. Where should I place the pen so that it is more than 7 units away from 0? You could think, okay, what if I place it over there? No, that doesn't work, because it is now less than 7 units away from 0, and even here it is still less than 7 units away from 0. So the only places I could place my pen so that it is more than 7 units away from 0 is either placing it in this region, or I place it in this region over here. So if I place my pen over here, the distance between 0 and my pen is more than 7, because 7 units ends up over there. Same thing if I place it over here, my pen is more than 7 units away from 0, because this much is 7 units. So my pen over here in this illustration represented 2x plus 3. So this 2x plus 3 should be less than minus 7, because it is on the left of minus 7. So I will say 2x plus 3 should be less than minus 7, because when I take the absolute value, that means I'm measuring the distance from where I placed it to 0. It is greater than 7. That's why I'm saying it's less than minus 7. It is on the left of minus 7. Or this 2x plus 3, the distance to be greater than 7 should be on the right of 7. That means it should be greater than 7. So this is the second scenario, or 2x plus 3 is greater than 7. Okay, so you don't always need to draw this number line. It's always just to have an intuitive understanding of why I say 2x plus 3 is less than minus 7, just because of the distance, and why I say 2x plus 3 is greater than 7. So now I have two inequalities. You know how to solve them. Everything with x on one side, everything without x on the other side. And just keep in mind that when we divide with inequalities, we always have to note that if I'm dividing by a negative number, the inequality should change direction. So here I will subtract 3 on both sides. So I'm solving this one first. Then I have 2x. This is less than minus 10. And then here I will divide by 2. Then I have x is less than minus 5. What I divided by here is a positive number. We said the sign only changes direction when I divide by a negative number. Same thing when I multiply with a negative number. But here I divided with a positive number, so this is fine. So this is my first solution. And then the second one, I do the same thing. I want x alone, so everything without x on the other side. So I will subtract 3, subtract 3. Then I have 2x is greater than 7 minus 3. This is 4. And then again, I divide by 2 on both sides. And because I'm dividing by positive 2, you will see that my sign does not change direction. Okay. So I have my two solutions. X is less than minus 5, or it's or because I'm carrying this or down, or x is greater than positive 2. So I can represent this on a number line. So I will draw my number line over here. And these 2 points, these are my boundary points, so I should label them. Minus 5 comes first from the left, and then 2 over here. Then we always say I need to put a circle on top of the minus 5 and the 2, so I have a circle. And then I need to decide, is my circle shaded or not? I look at my inequality. If there's an equal to sign underneath, then my circle is shaded. If there isn't, like in this case, my circle remains unshaded. So here, from -5, I want values less than -5. That means I continue in that way. And from 2, there is no equal to sign underneath, so my circle remains unshaded. And then I want values greater than 2. That means to the right of 2. Okay, so you'll notice in some books this is shaded or it's left unshaded, but I should see that this is a straight line, and I put an arrow at the end just to show that it continues. It doesn't stop somewhere here. It goes to infinity and goes to minus infinity in that way. So with this question, if it said write it in interval notation, you could also do that. In interval notation, this values less than -5. That means they start at minus infinity. And remember, minus infinity is never included, and not included is a round bracket. And then it goes to -5, which is also not included because unshaded circle, round bracket, those two go together. And or goes together with union. And again here at 2, open unshaded circle, round bracket, and then it goes from 2 to infinity. Infinity is always, all the time. If you have infinity, there is never a square bracket next to infinity. It is always a round bracket. So I think you'll have one of these two ways, either represented on the number line or in interval notation, and you should be familiar with both.